What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and I just got done watching the Pokemon Direct that was absolutely crazy. You know what? There is nothing that can actually overhype this. This was a wall-to-wall fantastic presentation and finally gets me extremely excited once again for Pokemon. I was not the biggest fan of something like Pokemon Let's Go and definitely not Pokemon Go just because I don't like cell phone games, but this looks 100% like what I craved. The new games are going to be called Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. Now beyond this, we also got a chance to see the new region, the new crazy graphics engine, and also stuff like the new starter Pokemon. Now the biggest thing, I think, is definitely that new graphics engine. When they were saying that they were going to be jumping over to the Nintendo Switch, I know a lot of people were being like, okay, that sounds tough. That is a lot of work, and how much are you really going to be able to polish up the Pokemon art style, the look? Well, apparently, a tremendous degree. There was actually a meme going around over the course of the last couple of months being like, you know what, this new Pokemon can't really be that great. It's not going to be Breath of the Wild, gotta catch 'em all. But you know what's funny is, now that we've seen it, that is actually what this is. Gen 8 looks like a Breath of the Wild freaking Pokemon. During this 7-minute direct, they gave us a huge swath of things to look at. I mean, tons of different regions, zones, all sorts of different stuff. I mean, they showed us humongous Pokemon arenas, random battles, snowy fields, deep mines. I mean, this new game looks like it is going to be just as diverse and just as crazy as every other Pokemon, but now in a gorgeous new art style. I actually think that this is such a cool thing to really get a chance to see the Pokemon of our freaking dreams. Now, real quick, let me talk about the 3 new starters. That's one of the things they revealed, and I think that all 3 of them are pretty adorable. It's the typical fire type, grass type, and water type. Their names are the Grass Chimp Grookey, the Scorbunny, who is the Fire Rabbit, and he looks pretty cool. And then, of course, Sobble. He's the water Pokemon who kind of looks like a frog. Now, what I thought was a little bit peculiar in this trailer is that they really kind of focused on the personality of these Pokemon, making them seem quirky and solving each other's problems. One sets the grass on fire by accident, and another one comes and puts it out. And I don't know if this is trying to emphasize the fact that we're actually going to have Pokemon following us around, or if they're going to try and have a much more personal feel. Something I really liked about the older Pokemon games is that your team, it really felt like your friends. When you managed to level up a Pikachu or something, that was your buddy helping you out. And it looks like this game is sort of trying to play into that. Now, something that actually surprised me about this, despite the fact that everything in this kind of blew my mind, is actually that they brought out several people from the Pokemon team who are working on this game, and all of them seemed very young. And I think that this is probably an extremely good move. Let's face facts, Pokemon has been around for a very long time, and I think that a big chunk of the fans are older. A lot of them are in their late 20s, early 30s. There are the kids who like it, but I think that a lot of Pokemon fans have definitely aged up. And I think that Nintendo realizes this, and they've decided to try and roll things back. And part of doing this, and making it accessible to new fans, is to hire new developers. People who have not worked on Pokemon as long, that way they're going to be able to look at this with a fresh set of eyes. Now, somebody who hasn't beaten every single one of the Pokemon games and collected all 8,000 Pokemon, I think that this is a very smart choice. It's going to give people like me a chance to jump into this with a freaking fresh start and completely be hyped for it. This game looks so freaking good, but one of the things that I think is the most interesting is the fact that, of course, this is actually coming to the Nintendo Switch. This is going to be an all-new generation. Since it is being made from the ground up, I'm hoping we get things like touch functionality. I think it'd be cool to actually play this game and touch the screen and stuff. I'm really excited. Personally, though, one of the biggest things to me is the new region. So this thing, they actually gave us a pretty good glance at the map for the entire new region, which is called Galar. Now, this is true. So we actually saw some rumors about this, and it looks like those speculations and leaks turned out to be 100% correct. This is basically London or England, and you even actually see some really famous landmarks from that part of the world, like the giant clock tower, Big Ben. Now, all of it is, of course, slightly changed for copyright reasons and to make this a little bit more Pokemonified, but that's what this is. It's completely that real-world place digified, and I think that this is really, really neat. I like the fact that we're getting such a different region. I was a little bit hopeful. There were some rumors that they were going to be trying to do something a little bit more like more old school Japan in its look, but I'm actually really glad that we're seeing something that is very, very different, especially after freaking Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon taking place in these like tropical islands going back to society and to the mainland. This is going to be a nice change of pace. One of the things that's really cool about this is that in the trailer, they showed off a lot of different little Pokemon battles, and it really kind of still has that nice vibe. This still feels like Pokemon, even though they're trying to change things up. You can tell that they're trying very much so to reinvent the franchise and give us new Pokemon to battle with and basically new regions to wander around in, while also trying to make it feel like it's still rooted in the original Pokemon love. In fact, they even started this direct with a big homage to the classic franchise, showing off all of the Pokemon games, just literally in a flurry, back to back, showing scenes from all of them to show that Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield are, of course, a lot more grand, a lot more magnificent, but they're still Pokemon. This isn't going to be reinventing the wheel. I'm really, really excited to see what they're like, and I'm curious what new features they're going to be adding. I mean, you gotta face facts, the Nintendo Switch is a very different device than the 3DS, not just because it has more graphical power and a not so great battery life, but because this is a home console, which means that it will have things like online play a lot more easily accessible. I do think that it's possible that we could see online Pokemon battles, not just online trading. Maybe there will be online tournaments where we can actually get our team of 8, put them on the internet, and try and battle people around the world. What if there's actually a ranking system where people are trying to actually level up like in a fighting game and trying to be the Elite Four of the internet? Maybe you can actually get badges for conquering people, like a separate set of badges. It's hard to know what exactly we're going to be getting, but already this trailer is filled with secrets. I mean, just watching this twice back to back, I can see that there's a lot of different hidden imagery in this that people are going to be extrapolating out for months. And we have time to really do this because the game now has a release window, which is going to be late 2019. Now, I find it interesting that they didn't just say November. Almost every Pokemon game comes out in November, but they made it a point not to say it specifically. So maybe it's that this game still has a lot of polish time left. I mean, it's February. They have some time to leave it in the oven to make sure it's just extra crispy and extra delicious before launch. And I think that it's just that they don't want to put down a solid release date to make sure they don't have to delay it. Everything about this looks so freaking stellar. If I had one concern, it is just the fact that I do hope that they give us a lot of very easy to understand Pokemon. Now, this is a little bit of a controversial statement, but some of the Pokemon from the later games, like Generation 4 and 5, they were a little bit hard for me to understand. If I just see something that's like a refrigerator, I don't know what elemental type of refrigerator is, which means that every time I see them in battle, I end up having to Google it on my phone and figure out what their weakness is. I'm hoping that we go a little bit more back to the roots where you can just look at a Pokemon and understand what it is. You know, I'm just saying that I like when grass-type Pokemon actually look at least a little bit like a plant. Now, I'm just so excited. I'm sorry I'm rambling, but this is just so cool. I actually got up at 7 a.m. just to make sure I could see this, and now that I've watched it, it's still just, I'm having trouble letting this sink in. I mean, I feel like even the name Sword and Shield manages to imply so much. This really is a new generation of combat and craziness, and really a different region. I mean, Galar being set in sort of a London-style area really kind of brings to mind knights and sorcery and stuff like that. I do feel like they're probably going to lean in that to some degree. I still think that the coolest thing about this is the fact that it is a big, expansive, open world Pokemon. This is an all-new engine, an all-new style of game, and I feel like they could very well make this the first 100-hour-long freaking Pokemon. They're not held back by the limitations of the 3DS. This thing could be freaking massive. It could be the biggest Pokemon ever. Imagine if it has things like online co-op, where you can actually invite your friends to come to your world, to run around and be crazy and catch Pokemon together. Right now, the potential is limitless, and I'm just so excited to see more about this project in the coming months, because obviously at E3, they're going to be bringing this out in a big way. I mean, why would they not? They're probably going to be showing off hours of footage at E3 just because people like us are going to absolutely eat it up. But what did you think? Did you get a chance to watch the Pokemon Direct? Are you as overly excited as I am, or am I drinking a little bit too much Red Bull at 7 a.m.? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and catch 'em all. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant keep dreaming. Woo, man, I'm seriously wanting to play every Pokemon game again right now. Sword and Shield, yes! Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.